Martin, crazy times out there, man.
299 conversations later, and we're still uncovering how real operators build real businesses. Today, we celebrate 300 episodes of experience, clarity, and honest conversations.
Because complexity is extra steps, extra cost, extra time.
And I figured if I'm going to work for an idiot, it might as well be me.
Because this is where we talk about what really drives the industry.
What's the easiest way to make more money? It's not to find more customers to sell stuff to. It's to sell more stuff to the customers you already have.
You know how to run a small business. That expertise with AI is your unfair advantage.
Here's to 300 episodes of the Cashflow Contractor, and to every conversation that brought us here.
Martin, can you believe it? Can you believe it?
Believe what? I believe a lot of things.
300 podcast episodes together.
Oh, I know. Well, we're not going to do 300 a day. It's been over the last few years. I know.
Well,
300.
I'm excited to answer 300 questions together today for our 300th episode.
Yeah.
Hopefully our listeners will bear with us.
We're gonna run this speed, what, 1,200 feet per second, whatever, to get through 300 answers.
We will get through 300, but I just wanted to say, like, man, we started this in 2020, 6 years ago.
We did?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and how fortunate am I to sit across from you for 300 different hours and pick your brain and ask you questions and learn from you. And I just think about what I could offer advice to people about as they're starting their career. And it's like, man, find a Martin that you can get on a podcast with you.
That is really kind of you to say that. And it's in a group hug party, but it exactly goes the other way too. I would have 0.0 tech savvy without Khalil. And I don't just mean because you come over and do it for me, although you've done that, but you introduce things. Oh, how's that work? And you like stretch a spring, right? You stretch a spring and it goes back, but it doesn't go all the way back, right? There's always a little gain, and that's kind of been stretching. And now we're talking about agents for AI, and I got a project I want to work with you on that stuff. I wouldn't even know about it, right?
You know, it's so
Plus,
cool
I wouldn't be cool. I'm cool in the environs of people who know Khalil because I know Khalil. So
there you go.
I got a little button that says, I know KB.
Well, thank you. You know, I just got back from Morocco. I'm so jet lagged and got
which
sick
is
when I
cool.
got back, which is great. No, I got to go see my dad, and he is, I think, just like 2 or 3 years younger than you. And I'm talking to him about like AI and all this kind of stuff. And it's just interesting to see how far you've come. Like, you're a dedicated Mac user. I don't know how many people your age are using MacBooks.
Well, that's because of you.
No, I know. But then you're also like using Claude and like at a very high, you're not just like chatting with it. Like, you are getting work done, things that you would never have done previously.
It's been a major. I mean, I look at the area of programming and people who are building tools to use in their business. Anything that was hard, that involves information that was tedious, that can be sped up, that you don't really know the final link to make it 100% efficient. You can do that with AI.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to do that stuff. But boy, there is, matter of fact, we are going to talk today about questions from our audience.
Yeah.
And to be a complete disclaimer, or not disclaimer, be completely upfront, not all of these came through the actual vehicle of the podcast, but they did come
from clients and...
Yeah, but they did come from clients in various means of that I've done since, you kind of got me started that way. I gather a lot of information. And then I start saying, well, what do people worry about? And I go back and it turns out I've got hundreds of questions that people have asked. I know who asked it. I know what they do. I know what their problem was. And it's all right. It's
because you
staggering.
Keep your transcripts. You're recording every meeting you're on. You've got your transcripts organized. You have Claude go and grab, hey, what were all the questions that I got this month? And what was my response? And
Yeah.
what was the context of each situation? And then those are all the questions.
Yeah, and I recognize them, but I wouldn't have thought of them.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully people listening to today will hear. I know they will. There's not a question here that I don't think anybody in business hasn't had to confront. And anyway, so we've got some answers or opinions of answers.
Yeah, this will be fun. I think we're going to go through 4
Yeah.
pretty in-depth questions
Right.
for our 300th episode here. And I'm excited to chat about them. I'm going to rely on you to give a lot of context on them. So let me go ahead and ask the question. You give us some
Okay.
context. I know that our first one is about cash, profit, revenue, just money in general. So why does profitability get lost in the pursuit of revenue? And what's the simplest way that an owner can keep profitability at the front and center, even as they're going out and trying to close sales and all the different things?
Well, we sure have talked about that a lot, right?
Yeah.
I think it's even a little bit bigger than just why does profit get lost in pursuit of sales. But I think there kind of is an insightful answer that I heard somewhere. I didn't come up with it, but I latched onto it. And one of the reasons that profits get buried, other than just lip service, is profit is an outcome. It's not a task.
Okay.
I can put on
Explain
my
that.
calendar, rearrange the trucks on Monday, hire a secretary on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Those are tasks. Make a profit, expressed
Is an
that
outcome.
way, is an outcome. And you can put that on, and matter of fact, it's not bad, but it'd be a little bit pro forma. You can put it on your calendar at the top. Make a profit today. But
Yeah.
that's still like a chant. And I think that's one of the number one reasons is that people can pay lip service to profit as an outcome, but you get covered up in all the day-to-day things that you have to do. And therein also lies one of the answers. How do you prevent yourself from losing sight of profitability? And that is that you have to pick several drivers. Like for our guys, margin, right, and break even. For service companies, it's build utilization, let's say. For a retailer, it's sales per square foot of shelf space. So it can be sales oriented, make 25 sales calls today, but you have to itemize the things that you can do that ultimately lead to a profit. So just to talk about profit in general, it'd be a lot like going to a counselor and the counselor says, be a better person. Just do better, right?
Yeah.
That'll be $100, right? So,
Yeah. I think you're right. I think I've never thought about it as profit as an outcome, and why it's like there's a layer of abstraction there to get to the profit, obviously. But I think another big reason is it's just not talked about. No one, when you're in conversations, no one's talking about, oh yeah, we did this much in profit. They always say that we did this much in sales.
exactly. That's another major
And
contributor.
I think that has more to do with it than anything is the best thing you can do is start having more conversations about profit and less conversations about sales. Not that you shouldn't talk about sales.
I mean, this is beautiful. This is you're articulating the problem of
Yeah.
profit being an outcome. How do you know you made a profit? You have to have all this information and pull it in and say, this is what came in, this is what went out, this is
Right.
what we owe later. And so what can you measure? Sales. That's either
Yeah.
bank deposits or accounts receivable, right? So they tend to. Nobody's a bad person in this, and nobody's stupid, but they don't know how to measure profit on a daily basis. I can measure sales on a daily basis.
Right.
It's an objective tool. So people gravitate toward that, but we've talked to an extent about if you're chasing sales, you're chasing the wrong thing. They have to come with profitability, margin, and profit And then, of course, we always add on the end, you have to be able to convert that profit to cash. So you have to collect it.
Well, I think it's a good thing to start just by making sales, right? Like if you're in your first couple of years, grow that sales side, because that's going to allow you to learn, to give you the real experience to improve your service or your product. It's going to allow you to, get more clients, get referrals. It's going to feed everything. But at a certain point, you've got to start focusing on that profit number more and more and more. I'm not saying you don't focus on it at all at the beginning, but if you're over here optimizing for profit and you don't have any sales, well, what's going on, right? So I think you do have to start by closing deals, but you have to be aware that there has to be a switch that you can flip to where you can focus on that profit.
Yeah, and I agree with what you're saying, but I also say you need to think about profit early on too.
No, you do. It's just,
but it's not likely that you'll know. I've had real interesting how things run in themes in my coaching practice. Lots of people either starting or at the point where they're wanting to take their businesses and sell them.
Yeah.
And to have the understanding of what it takes if you're starting a business, you do need to focus on sales because you need to know that you have a viable product somebody will buy.
Exactly.
That's half the question.
It is.
You have to have a viable product
that someone will buy that is profitable.
At a price that will allow you to survive and thrive in business. And so you have to look at both of those, and early on, it's a matter of figuring that out. And it's kind of fun because you don't really know.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, I just think it's a different approach if you're starting out. So if you've been in business for a while, you understand this very deeply. If you're just getting started, it's like, go get some sales and then you're going to understand it,
Right.
Yeah.
That's one of the things, without going political, it's political without being partisan. But my dad used to always say the thing about a bureaucrat is they've never had to make a sale.
There you go.
And a lot of private people have never. I mean, we can say you have to sell yourself and all that, but I mean, actually go in and meet a customer and find out what they want and provide what they need and do it at a price that you can. Man, that is a different place to be in life.
So there's a new coffee shop that opened below my office. I know this looks like my house. I get that all the time, but this is my office. It's an art studio, or it used to be, I guess. So I don't know. It is what it is. But new coffee shop opened downstairs, and it's opened by some university employees. Like University of Oklahoma's down the road, and they decided to go out and open their own coffee shop. So it's this really, really big space. Like, I don't know how, it's got to be like 5,000 square feet or something. It's big. Wow. Okay, like really, really big. And their goal was to have it be like a cafe and like a restaurant, all that kind of stuff. And they're progressing into that, starting with just coffee and getting there. But like I ended up sitting across from the owner, and I could tell really quickly she had no idea what she was doing, which is great. Like I love it. It's entrepreneurship. It's like just fly by the seat of your pants and get started. But I was able to point out some things right away where I was like, hey, like you're charging like $3 for a cappuccino. And if I go to down the road, it's $5. Like literally 2 blocks away, it's $5. And then 2 blocks that way, it's $5. And I don't know if you did that intentionally because you're trying to undercut people, but there's no chance you're making any money on that. And your cappuccinos, I go to those 2 coffee shops. Yours is actually way better. So like you've got to increase your prices. That was one thing. They, at the front, they have like a bookstore, and they have like not trinkets, but
sundry
plants.
items.
It's not as bad as like Cracker Barrel where you go in and it's like half the store is where are we?
Coonskin.
But yeah, just tchotchkes and different things like that. But it's essentially kind of like that, right? And they've got tables for people to sit at, and they're hoping to be a restaurant. I'm like, well, you're going to want to maximize the revenue per table. like as much as possible, because that's how you're going to make money. Is people, there should be a line of people out the door waiting to get seated, but as many table as possible. And you're eating up like half of this space, maybe not half, at least a third, with like books that no one's buying. Like people don't come to coffee shops to buy books. Like maybe you'll get a sale every
They
once
don't
in a
buy
while.
books anymore.
That's true. So that was one thing. And then the other thing, it's a coffee shop too. Well, you look at all the people that are there, they're coming to like work for half the day or whatever it is, right? You're going to start running a restaurant. You don't want people sitting at a table that's for 4 people and it's one person with a laptop there for half the day. Like you're charging $5 versus where you could be making like 70, $80 for a brunch, right? So just little things like that. And she's going to learn it. You're absolutely right. At some point, they're going to realize, oh, we need to be profitable to pay rent or to pay payroll. And then they'll increase prices and they'll get rid of the books and then they'll, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep. So
So
anyway, that profitability and keeping it top of mind, I think the core problem is that it's she doesn't know what profitability is. She doesn't know what her profits are. I don't know her, but I just know she doesn't.
no, she doesn't know what
So how
what
can
her
she
profit is on a
prioritize
cappuccino.
profit? The way to prioritize profit would be to talk to Khalil and figure out what profit is and see how you get it and then go do that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think the main kind of takeaway here is you do have to prioritize profit. It's not easily done. You can do it effectively by identifying drivers, KPIs, I hate to always talk about that stuff, that you can watch and they correlate and you can measure. And and other than that, everything else that goes along with it, like culture. I mean, part of the question that you didn't read, but people said, you're always telling us we got to manage our culture and, the vision and mission for our company. I didn't turn my phone off this morning.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Anyway, you do have to prioritize those things, profit being the tallest one. But when I say prioritize them, you just have to make sure that they're serving the higher purpose. And that can be a vision, but from a business standpoint, higher purpose is profitability so that you can remain in business, continue to do good things.
Yeah. I think the way that I always say it, in the order that I say it, is you have to close deals first, and then you have to hit your numbers, right? So obviously try to think about the profit in the front, but close the deal so that you have the sales, and then focus on hitting your numbers right after that. And that's when you're kind of starting out. Like if you're larger, you've been doing this for a while, profitability should be there, but close deals, hit your numbers, execute projects, right? So get better at doing better and better work and being more efficient at it. And then you lead your team, right? And that's the vision, the culture, the mission, the values, all that kind of stuff. And then on top of that, you have serve clients, which you're serving your clients throughout the entire process, but you really take it to another degree of it being a differentiator after you've done those things. So anyways.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go to the next question. So I think in most of, I know it's true of like my clients, but is it normal for the owner to work the most hours out of anybody on the team? And is that something that they should be striving to put an end to? When does that stop?
I want to add this. That question was asked by a $15 million subcontractor guy, a veterinary clinic, a publisher. Those are the people who literally asked that question. So it applies to all kinds of businesses. And is it normal that the business owner works more than anybody else? Yes. I'd like to say some people figure it out and don't do it, but I'm saying yes. Is that a good thing? some people wear it as a badge of honor that
Yeah.
I work harder than anybody else. And if that's what you want out of life, then yeah, it can be good. But most people who are doing it either are scared to change it, or don't know how to change it, or think they don't have the resources to change it,
Yeah. I
to
agree.
change the outcome. And with the people that I work with, if you're in business long enough, with very few exceptions, you want to change it. You want to not be the person that's down there on the weekend, every weekend, staying later than everybody else, watching as is happening in a couple of businesses I know right now, 2 key people are on vacation and the owner's working and kind of going crazy. And we had to reschedule some things because they're working and the owner hadn't been on vacation. Right. So why does that happen? Well, depending on where you are in the stage of business, and you can add to this, Khalil, you start out, you are the guy or the gal who does everything because it's you. I mean, you're raising money, you're doing banking, making those sales, you're refining the product, you're doing the marketing, or at least contracting with it. Many times, if you keep books, you're the one keeping the books. You're wearing all the hats. That requires weekends and evenings. You get to the point where you can start bringing in people to assist you. You lay off, but you might hire a contractor to do your marketing, right? Or you might hire a bookkeeper to help you, or you might hire an assistant manager, and start bringing them in one at a time to do that.
Right.
That's the biggest differentiator between a small company, maybe $1 to $5 million, and companies larger than that, $5 to $50 or more million a year, is that by the time you get to that second group, you start to hire specialists. You have an accounting department, you have a marketing department, you have a production department, you have a marketing, if I didn't already say that. You've got leadership partners, you got COO, CFO, CEO, different people in different roles, and they tend to be specialized and professional. But until you reach that point, it falls back on the owner, most generally, all of those functions. And when I talk about most being that way, the reason I say that is there are more than 30 million companies in businesses in the United States. And it used to be 4%. I think it's more now. Maybe 8% ever make it to $1 million in sales. So everybody that's under that is likely working more than anybody else in the business.
Yeah. I think that you're right. Just to give a different vantage point of it. Yes, when you start, you're going to be the one doing everything. You're going to be working the most. You might be the only person working. As you add people, ideally, one, you need to, what's the first question you ask somebody whenever they start coaching with you, Warren?
What do you want?
So you got to know what you want. If you want to be working 60 hours a week and you love the job, whatever it is, that's great. Do what you want. If you want to be the owner of a business or be the leader of a business rather than being a worker inside of the business, then know that what you want, know where you're trying to go. And I think for a lot of people, what I think is most valuable for people to understand is that they have to be thinking about higher leverage work in their business, right? So it's okay. I mean, I work a lot, but I try to always be doing something that's higher leverage, meaning I could sit here, we have a podcast agency as one of our businesses. I could be the one to sit here and edit this podcast, right?
Yeah, you'd save some money too.
I'd save some money.
a couple $100.
Yeah, it's a little more than that, but yeah, I'd save some money. So I don't do that because it would be way higher leverage for me to make decisions about, oh, hey, if we buy this software, we can save some money, but we can also do it 5 times as fast. Oh, hey, if we incorporate AI into this part of the process, it will streamline how we do things and actually make it better. going and closing a long-term deal where we're managing a podcast for 3 years would be a higher leverage activity than me sitting there and editing the podcast, right? Eventually working on our finances and looking over them and seeing where we can cut expenses to increase profit, right? Or making an investment in something like just recent. I mean, there's just so many things that we could do there, right? And then it's like, oh, well, hey, I could actually work on a partnership with a podcast booking agency that brings in more deals. So I'm not actually doing sales. I'm looking at higher level of how we can create partnerships that will drive revenue, right? And so I can keep doing that over and over and over again, where I'm just working on higher leverage things. The same thing will happen inside of any construction company where you can focus. I mean, we've talked to some really brilliant people that focus on pricing changes, that focus on route optimization, or focus on changing, having a diversified amount of suppliers to where they can get, better pricing depending on what season it is and supply and demand and all these different, like there's higher leverage things that they should be doing in the business. And I'm all for it. If you're working on high leverage tasks and you're working a lot, that's great because that will compound. But it'll also allow you to step back every once in a while, right? Where you figure out what's high leverage in the business, and you know that if you do one meeting with your team, that it can change the trajectory of the company. And so you just do that one meeting and you let them run, right? So anyways.
So kind of the question comes to why do people not do it? And we've been touching on it. I think the first one is what I said earlier, that it's an identity. People like to tell you that, man, I can't do that. I'm at the office all weekend, or man, I pulled 12 hours yesterday or 14 hours. So there is that identity, and you just have to decide around that. The second thing is there's always a capital cost to what we're talking about here is delegating, getting it into somebody else's hand. And I call it a capital cost. I mean, it can be actual money, but it's an upfront investment of your time to get somebody started and trained so that you can turn them loose. So I'm willing to make that capital investment. I'm willing to hire somebody or train somebody in my company, but not today because I'm busy. Right? No, you have to find time to make that capital investment. Another one is an actual financial issue is you really don't make enough money to hire somebody or to pay somebody to, a higher rate for higher level work because you don't make enough. You've got thin margins and you don't make enough money and you're reluctant to do that. Well, okay, if you're willing to work Saturdays for the rest of your life, you don't need to. If you want to replace yourself with adequately staffed company, you got to make enough money to do that, which means you got to go in there and raise your prices and just do the things that you do. And if you continue to do it yourself and you've got a high-level administrator job that you're doing as a CEO or the owner, you are subsidizing your business.
100%.
You're actually lying to the world. And by the way, if you want to go sell it, buyers will look for this and they're going to know.
Good luck.
They say, you're doing all the work that a CFO would have to do, and you do need a CFO, and they cost $150,000. So we're dinging you for $150 right there, right?
Yep.
Price isn't going to hold up.
No, you've got to think that it may be better off for you to do half the amount of work with less staff and reduce your expenses greatly, because then your jobs will be profitable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you make more money working less, which is what you were talking about. That is leverage, which is another word for efficiency.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, there's so many people I'm talking to, builders, remodelers, that are, 3 new projects, and for them 6 projects is what they do in a year. So they're doing massive mansion houses. 3 new projects that are on top of the 8 projects that they've signed this year. So there are 5 more projects than they've normally done. And I'm just looking at it like, man, oh man, like, I really hope I mean, we're doing some great things. I think that they'll be fine, but it's a recipe for, we made the same amount of money and blew our brains out trying to figure it out. You know what I mean?
This doesn't directly address the question we started with, but it was something I was looking up today. The scaling and growth are often used interchangeably, often not. So I was kind of diving into them just this morning, waiting to get on this, to find what the distinction is. And it's a distinction made by the person who made this distinction. May not be the same as, but growing is like increasing sales. So I got 3 new projects. I'm going to grow my revenue. I'm going to hire 3 new project managers. I'm going to hire I have 3 new computers and 3 new pickup trucks. And so you're just growing. Scaling is becoming more efficient. You got 3 more, but you created systems and you managed to increase by only adding 1 project manager, right? So scaling is what we want to do. And that's literally what I was. Maybe I'm the last guy in the world who didn't really understand the distinction, but
No, I think that's a really important clarification, and really does unlock something for me. I think what I've always said is like, growing is somewhat linear, right? I guess I'll go this way maybe for you guys,
Yeah.
right? Where it just like is kind of a line that's going up and to the right. Whereas like scaling allows you to go kind of exponential,
yeah.
right? And sometimes that does require adding people, but a lot of times it just means reducing the scope of what you do to where you can do it so well that you can sell so many of it with the same amount of people or not as many people. So,
Well, let's just take a real simple one and just say, would you rather make $100,000 net profit on $5 million worth of sales, or $100,000 net profit on $1 million worth of sales? Seen both.
I mean,
Right.
I definitely would rather do the second one, but
Well, a lot of people would not be excited by either, but
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
that's kind
That's
of
what I was about to say.
well, but I'm telling you, that's what I see.
no, I know.
1%
And you know what? Most
net.
of that net profit is the owner's salary. So if you're taking that out of the equation,
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, I'm right with you. I'm right with you.
No. So
Okay.
anyway, we got off on scaling, but
Well, and this
that's
next
part of the
question ties.
function. Oh, go ahead.
This next question ties directly into what we're talking about and how you get out of that, right? You're not able to step away as an owner and work less hours in the business and focus working on the business if you don't have the money to do it, if you can't afford to pay people to work in the business for you. So how do you do that? Well, one of our favorite things to talk about is price increases. So again, like we said, you start by doing sales. How do you get to that focus on profit? One of the easiest ways to do it is cutting expenses, but just increasing prices. Don't change anything that you're doing, right? Just change how much you're charging for it. But it is something that faces the most resistance. So why? What do we do?
Well, let me kind of add one thing to that. One of the guys who asked that question is literally wrote, I have customers I've had for years at prices I set when I started. Some of them think I'm losing money every month on doing what I do for them. I know I need to raise my prices, but I'm afraid I'll lose the customers, and the conversation is uncomfortable. How do I do it without blowing out?
I've faced this. I've got
Yeah.
clients that I've had for 9 years, and I'm still charging the same amount. Now, for me, I don't spend much time with those clients anymore. It's a lot less work than it was back in the day because we create systems. It's just easier. Okay. But that's not necessarily the case if you're a contractor, right? And you're mowing lawns, for example. Yeah, if you've been mowing that lawn for 9 years, there should be a price increase. Everything has increased for you. Your gas, your insurance, your payroll, everything is increased. So the price should increase. And I think what makes this the most difficult thing is that if you've had that customer for 9 years and this is the first price increase you've done, there's no precedent. But if every single season, every year, hey, let's talk about pricing for this year. If that was how you did it every year for 9 years, what do you think they're expecting on year 10?
Yeah.
A price increase. And so it's as much a thing of an expectation that you have to set at the beginning than it is something that you have to worry about at the back end. If you start every single conversation of this year's pricing is this, just even saying that, just not even saying that it's going to go up. This year's pricing is this, right?
Yeah.
They understand. Or for people starting this month, we give them this price for this year. But every season we change prices. If you set that expectation, people understand.
Yeah.
But if there's no precedent on it, then people are like, whoa, I'm not used to that. So
Well, and the that implies that they're willing to do it, meaning the contractor, the lawnmower. The idea that scares them is that they're going to lose that customer. And what's happening is they're losing them a piece at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're unsustainable, and quite often they are in a loss position. Maybe not. And then you have to look at the margin that you're making on something and say, is that worth the effort I put into it? Because once again, owning a customer is not the purpose of business either if you can't make money on them.
It's more of a mental hurdle than anything. I mean, when you tell people to raise prices, how many customers do they actually lose?
Yeah, it's like none. I mean, every time we tested, how many did you lose? Well, I didn't lose anybody.
Exactly.
10%. I mean, people have lost people, but it goes back to I can do 80% of the work and make more money.
Right.
Or do 100% and make less money. I'm going to do the 80 and lose 20% of the business.
Yeah. Again, you have to remember what you want. Like we said, I want a business that runs without me. I want a net profit of $1 million a year. I want whatever it is, right? Okay, well, if that's what I want, what decision do I need to make right now?
Right.
Well, I need to raise prices. So
Yeah. And
I think the cleanest way to do this is to come by. I mean, I don't know who this is. I don't know what the type of business it is, but I'm assuming it's a recurring business if they've had customers for a long time.
Yeah.
So I would say at the end of the season, saying, hey, is it seasonal?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Whatever it is, coming by and saying, hey, how did the project go? Or how did our work do? How was the service? Good. Okay, great. Hey, just wanted to let you know that we're increasing our prices and you've been a valuable customer for us for a long time. And this is the first time we've increased our prices. This is what it's going to look like going forward. I just wanted to hear from you. Like, I'd love to continue to do your business at this price. Can we set that up for next year? But just make it a face-to-face conversation. Don't make it something where it's like an email.
One of the biggest things on raising the prices too, I think of a pool service company. That's not the one I'm talking about, but I've had, it exactly applies there. Chemicals and all this stuff have gone up. I don't like to make a lot of excuses.
No.
It's necessary. We have to raise our prices. This is the price,
Yeah.
I don't say, I just don't make a lot of excuses. I don't know that actually hurts you. I just don't think it's good. That one of the things that they do here is, well, your competitor is this amount. How come he can do it? You say, you know what? I have no idea how they do business. None. But I've been doing this for 20 years. It's what I have to take care of you. And this is my price.
Yeah.
And move on down the road.
Exactly. I mean, here's what you need to understand. A lot of people want to be acquired. The first thing that someone who acquires you is going to do is raise prices.
Yeah.
It's the first
thing.
Get
a CFO.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, private equity comes in, they buy your company. One of the things that makes you attractive to them is that you're underpriced.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, I ought to sell at a premium.
Yeah.
I'm way underpriced.
So
No, but we've talked about it a lot, but why is it that price is so powerful compared to other things like cutting expenses and things?
it's mental.
Price increases drop straight to the bottom line. If you sell more, you get more sales dollars, but you get more cost against it.
Yeah.
And price is repetitive, so it falls to the bottom line now and on every future sale. If you cut $1,000 out of your overhead, that drops straight to the bottom line too, once.
Yeah.
It doesn't scale. If you sell 5 times as much, it was still just $1,000. So
Yeah.
small price changes have a huge disproportionate impact. And so it's worth doing. That's what I'm saying.
It's so worth doing. There's one other thing that a lot of business owners avoid like the plague. I've done myself at times. We already said not increasing prices. The other one is not letting go of an employee that they've just been holding on to for too long. So how do you know when it's finally time to fire someone? And how do you do it gracefully?
You're asking me? That was
I just had to do this.
things. Pardon?
I just had to do this recently. 9-year person.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So,
And I think that ultimately it's something that you never want to do because there's relationship there. I think especially in small business, it's a lot harder because you've been through fires, you've been through whatever, they've had your back in different situations. But people change a lot over 9 years. I look at myself 9 years ago. I didn't have kids. Like, life was very different. I'm a different person now. And employees change too. And more importantly, the business changes. I'm not doing the same thing I was doing 9 years ago.
What happens is they get moved out of maybe automation comes in, it can be systems and processes that eliminate some steps, and their step is one of them, and they don't adapt by acquiring a new one. They're generalists, but you generally know somebody has to go when you cannot. One of the tests is, would I hire for that position today?
Right.
And if I would hire for that position today, would I hire that person?
Right.
And if the answer to either one of those is no, you don't need to, and then you're in a position you've got to go. They've got to go. And that's heartless and all that kind of stuff. But it's what'll drag when in business selling, Larry Hughes, whom we've talked about many times, sold more businesses than anybody I know, over 700. So one of the most common things that acquirer has to do, in addition to raising prices, is get rid of the deadwood. They come in and do that. And of course they get and there are people who overdo that, and they're money grubbers and all the bad reputation. But also that's one reason the owner's selling, because he or she doesn't want to have to do that. They know it.
Yeah.
This needs to thrive and survive and take care of the people, the customers, and the employees who are still here. And to do that, we got to get rid of the deadwood. Necessary Endings is a book by Dr. Henry Cloud, talks about that.
Yep.
And it's not fun to do, but you're not necessarily hurting them. They need to go where they're productive and meaningful. And you need to either not have that position, or somebody who's in it who's doing productive and meaningful work.
Yeah. No, I think that that's a great question. And there's probably going to be a lot of burden with letting that person go, right? Like even in my instance, there's so many things that person had, like institutional knowledge wise, about things that I've forgotten about, that I'm going to have to go and figure out. But it's a problem. It's something that it can be solved. It's not going to be easy. But what also isn't easy is that person is not only costing you in terms of expense, but there's an opportunity cost of them going against the culture, going against the momentum that the team is carrying, that not being reliable for the new thing that they're holding you back to what has been the status quo for 9 years. You know what I mean? And so there's just a level of, there's so many costs that you can't even put a price on when you're carrying someone that's been there too long.
One of the observations is that, we've said it before, and you're saying it again here, there's no better way to ruin a good employee than to have them watch you tolerate a bad one. And a lot of times you're worried about the culture and all this, their fellow teammates are generally not going to be surprised when you let somebody go.
Yeah, never.
Yeah, there may be at a level where they don't understand what the shortcomings were.
Yeah.
And that can happen, but then that's usually they don't know why a vice president got fired,
Right.
But that's not a good reason not to, meaning shaking up the team is not a good reason for not firing. It's a good reason to fire, to not shake up to preserve the team.
Yeah. Well, these have been fun.
Yeah.
We got through our 4 questions.
We got lots more. Matter of fact, we encourage anybody listening to ask for clarification if that's necessary, or
Absolutely.
ask questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just the kind of things that are bothering you. What is it that's bothering you, and let's work through it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that all of these questions probably bother, at least one of them is bothering somebody listening, because they're just the norm for business. So 300 episodes, Martin.
300. Wow. Remember when we started, we had video equipment in the room and tracking that. We take video, move the camera around and show us and we did that right during 2020 where we were all wearing masks, right?
Yeah, right.
But right through the heat of that. It's kind of fun.
It's wild. Things have changed a lot.
We didn't have AI when we started.
We did not.
I mean, probably it existed in some form, but...
Yeah, I think ChatGPT 1.0 or 2.0 was around back then.
It was just kind of a novelty, somebody working with stuff.
Well, it was actually just GPT. It wasn't chat. There wasn't the chat interface. That's what really took things off in 2023 was the chat interface.
If it's doing genius things and you can't get the information out, not much good. So,
well, you could. You should be like a developer that was
be looking at code,
it.
not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, generative pre-trained transformer, GPT. Generative means it comes up with its own answers. It's not reading you. It listens to your question and answers it. Creates language. Pre-trained mean they got all this information in these God, I start thinking about.
If you sit there and look at how they train these models and how you'll be like, what? How did someone come up with this approach? But here we are, and there's different ways that they're doing it.
What's the big deal about a guy named Aristotle? Why should I read him? And then you go, how come a 6-sided hexagon? All hexagons are 6-sided. Why is that the most useful structure for a honeycomb? Right? And then I hit my toe with a weight. Is my toenail going to come off? And it's all been discussed. I mean, it's been trained on all to say about it, on all of it. And you go, holy crap.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff. Yeah. Okay. Martin.
Okay, man. We'll see you next time.
If this episode brought you clarity, we've got plenty more where that came from. Check out our full library at thecashflowcontractor.com. See you in the next one.